It's said that night fishing lights are the bane of big fish, but in fact, that's only half true. When night fishing in summer, do you choose a night fishing light, a luminous float, or just insert a fluorescent bead on the float tail? I think most anglers tend to choose the latter too, especially when fishing for big fish. Anglers all say that night fishing lights are not easy to use. This thing is the bane of big fish, and fish dare not enter the nest at all. In fact, this statement is only half correct. Night fishing lights are not very easy to use, but they are not unusable. Moreover, many people think that night fishing lights drive away fish because there is a problem with the lights you use. First of all, if you are night fishing for large-sized fish, such as carp, grass carp, black carp, etc., my first suggestion is to use fluorescent beads. The reason is that they are cheap, easy to operate, and the brightness of fluorescent beads is relatively low and soft. I have shared my thoughts on night fishing lights and luminous floats with you before. I think night fishing lights are better for fishing small fish, because fishing small fish still requires some sensitivity, and luminous floats are no match for regular floats in terms of sensitivity. In addition, if you are fishing for silver carp, bighead carp, topmouth coulter and the like, you can also use night fishing lights. In addition to fish species and sensitivity, there are other factors to consider, such as water depth and water quality. The deeper the water and the greener the water quality, the less impact the night fishing light has on fishing. Conversely, if the water is shallow and thin, use a luminous float. As for luminous floats, a relatively big problem is that they are rather dull, and most luminous floats are heavy in weight, making it difficult to cast the rod, giving a top-heavy feeling. But this is not a big problem. After all, we are now talking about fishing for big fish, and big fish do not need much sensitivity. So you can increase the lead weight, increase it more, and the problem of casting will be solved. Another very important issue is that anglers generally believe that night fishing lights cannot catch big fish and will drive away fish. This statement is incorrect, and even if we say that the light scares fish, it is not entirely the light's fault. It has a lot to do with the person using it. I have said this when talking about this matter a few years ago. You don't need a too bright night fishing light, or you should dim the light when using it, just enough to see the float. When fishing for big fish, most of the time you don't need to catch small bites. Just wait for the big dips or the float to completely submerge. Too bright light will first hurt your eyes, and second, increase the probability of scaring fish. But some anglers just don't listen. They spend a lot of money to buy so-called laser cannons or laser guns, wanting to illuminate the entire river surface. Not to mention that the parameters of such night fishing lights are seriously falsely marked. They are marked as hundreds of watts, but in fact, they may be 10 times less. The second point is about the use of night fishing lights. Some anglers choose the right light, but use it incorrectly. Every time, because the casting is inaccurate and the float falls outside the light source, they will subconsciously move the night fishing light to illuminate the float. Big fish are most afraid of this kind of swaying light. Those that were lingering around the nest will not enter the nest, and those that have already entered the nest will leave decisively. Inaccurate casting is due to unskilled basic skills. You can only practice more, and you can't be in a hurry. Before you improve the accuracy of the bait landing point, you have to work harder. If you don't cast into the light source, lift the rod and recast. For beginners fishing for big fish at night, it is recommended to focus on waiting, and there is no need to frequently lift the rod to change bait. Also, headlamps are easily overlooked. The main function of headlamps is to illuminate when baiting, changing hooks and lines, and to determine the position of the fish when netting. As long as these 2 points are met, there is no need to pursue excessive brightness, otherwise it will also scare the fish. The headlamp should be small and light, so that it is not uncomfortable to wear for a long time. Including when we are playing the fish, unless there are many obstacles on the shore and we need lighting because it is inconvenient to move, do not turn on the light too early. If you rashly turn on the headlamp to shine on the fish before most of its strength is exhausted, the fish will struggle violently and escape. I believe that some anglers must have had similar experiences. The fish was not moving much, but as soon as it showed its head and was illuminated by the light, it suddenly shook its head and broke the line. Anglers often ask me to recommend brands of luminous floats. I really can't recommend any, because I don't go night fishing much. Even if I go night fishing, I mostly use lights for small fish, and for big fish, I use the cheapest luminous floats, or even don't use luminous floats at all, just insert a fluorescent bead to get it done. Warm reminder: don't pursue excessive sensitivity when fishing for big fish. There is really no need for a luminous float that costs tens or hundreds of yuan. If the location is chosen correctly and the big fish are willing to bite, there is not much difference between a cheap luminous float of a few yuan and a high-end one of hundreds of yuan, especially for beginners. Anyway, they are all waiting for the float to submerge to let it take the bait firmly. Author profile: I am a self-media blogger who loves fishing and is good at sharing. Follow me, and we will exchange fishing skills and discuss every bit of angler's wild fishing. Give a like, collect, and follow to avoid missing the next update.